The 2022 Major Series is finally here and ready to kick off the season in wine country at the twists and turns of Watkins Glen in upstate New York for the 2 hours of the Glen, presented by Majors Garage, and our broadcast is brought to you by Speed Demon TV. The up-and-coming sportsmen are ready to take battle in Prototype and GT3 with bragging rights on the line. We come on the air and we say good evening, friends. Marty Sakala alongside Tyler Isley and Glenn Grimm on Speed Demon TV. Tyler, I'll start with you. Let's start by talking about the prototypes. They're key tonight for the next 2 hours, avoiding the traffic of the GT3 cars and driving it clean if they want to get to victory lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, as most people know, prototypes are going to be quicker than the GT3s, and as you just said, the traffic will become a factor pretty quick into this race. The grand scheme of things, again, a two-hour race tonight. So it's going to be exciting to see how everybody's able to maneuver and get through everything, and hopefully it just all stays clean and green.
Glenn, I'll go to you now. Let's talk about the GT3 cars. So many different manufacturers, so many different setups. What are the keys for them once we get to be about an hour or so into this race?
Honestly, not. In my opinion, is not losing your rhythm. It can be a hectic challenge here when you're racing with a bunch of these guys here, as you see. So just keep your rhythm, keep your cool, not overshoot your corners, and mostly stay focused.
Absolutely. We are excited to get racing here tonight at Watkins Glen International. Let's break down the info here for you at Watkins Glen. We are here on the boot side of things. 11 twisty corners around. 74 degrees is the air temp. 40% humidity, partly cloudy at 8 miles an hour. 2 hours format. LMP2s and GT3s. All IMSA rules on iRacing will apply. No yellows in this race. We'll only have one green flag, and it will go straight from green to checkered. And this is the American Sport second split here as we get set to go racing here. The 11 turns is completely different from what we're used to, guys. All from NASCAR all the way down to the boot side of things. That boot can be really tricky because you're going downhill and you're going uphill once you hit the beginning to end respectfully.
Yeah, especially, I mean, for guys who are used to the NASCAR side of things with Watkins Glen, you get a lot of an elevation up through the S's. But then you get the downhill side once you get to the boot and then back uphill in the last couple of corners. It's going to be really exciting to see everybody maneuver through there. It gets tricky at times, especially when you got traffic to deal with. It's going to be a fun time.
Just a couple minutes away from going racing. Let's give you some more info about the weather. Track temp tonight, Glenn, 99 degrees as we get set for an 11 a.m. iRacing time event. And the track will be very slick as we take the green flag.
Oh, most definitely. These guys, in the first couple laps, they go out here on them fresh tires. They're going to have to mind their cues, make sure they don't slide all over the place here with the new freshes they got on there.
Absolutely. Set for June 26, 2022, normally the day as the Salem 6 hours of the Glen. So as we get ready to go racing, 2 minutes away from taking the green flag, practice is underway at the moment. Give you the quickest. Jason Metcalf out of Canada, a 1:30.747 in the prototypes. And in the GT class, it's David Wilson Jr. with a 1:45.31. Let's talk about Jason while we were at it. I think it was you, Glenn, if I recall correctly, that was actually racing with Jason last night. Talk about his skill set that he brings to the table tonight.
Well, I mean, he's well-rounded here. If you're going from like these running a prototype here tonight, he was actually racing against me in Xfinity cars at Indy. So to go between two different tracks wise with two different aspects of vehicles says a whole lot about his character of a driver itself, as he can literally get into anything and actually be fast.
Absolutely. There you see Metcalf in that number 30 LMP2 machine. As we are set for a minute until we take the green flag. This is the season opener for the Major Series from 2022 as they begin the year at Watkins Glen International. They go through a variety of cars on a variety of tracks. Like a couple of weeks from now, they'll have the Daytona 500. They'll do dirt, they'll do road, they will do dirt oval, and then they go all the way down to the championship finale at Homestead Miami Speedway. On the entry list, we have a total of 45 cars at the moment in this second split. 17 of them are prototypes and 28 are based in the GT3 class. Final thoughts, gentlemen, before we get the grid set up here. Tyler, start with you.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be exciting, like I mentioned earlier, just watching everybody try to get their way through traffic and battle around each other. How patient are the prototype guys going to be, and how easy are the GT3 guys going to be to get around? I think it's going to be very, very interesting, as I said before.
Checkers are out on qualifying. We get set to take the green flag, race fans. Here is the starting lineup. We get things set off with our prototypes. It is Adrian Vigil on the front row next to Richard Curry. Row number 2 is Alfredo Morales and Daniel Nunez. Row number 3 is Marc-Andre Sayamont and Drew Lalonde. Row 4, Jason Metcalf and Russ Lundberg. Row number 5, Bruce Hilton and Rob Courtney. Row number 6 is Patrick Kopp and Don Dolson. Row number 7 is John Navarra and Steve Jones. Row 8, David Callahan and Dan Legowski. And starting from 17th in the back of the prototype drivers, that is Lee Tucker. Now we look at the GT class. It is Michael Donlin in the 524 and Kyle Hackett on the front row. And next to them, Ron McPherson and David Wilson Jr. Mark Redeker and Ty Basile in row 3. The fourth row for the GT class gives us Nicholas Feller and Scott Kukis. Row 5, David Williamson and Kyle Fredrickson. Row 6, James Troger and Eric Ewens. Row number 7 is Gary Beal and Patrick Stein. The 8th row gives us Shannon Gray and Steve Giberson. Row number 9 is Bruce Jackson and Chris Bowler. And in row 10 gives us Stacy Hunter and Keith Ostriker. That rounds out the top 20. The rest of the field behind them: Brian Sweetman, Steve Pipelinski, Colin Tabor, E.J. Funer, Gregory Rourke, Pat Armand, Josh Mertz, and Sean Miller make up the field as we get set to take the green flag. The drivers are starting to roll off here at beautiful Watkins Glen. You take a look at some of the turns here as the prototypes roll off here. An interesting rule here that is set by the Major Series here, Glenn, is that the GT traffic must stay at least 10 seconds behind the leaders. So that means when they roll off, they have to wait 10 seconds until the final prototype car rolls off. That definitely works well for everyone. So that way, if a wreck happens in front of them, they can avoid having to take evasive action.
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like it's very smart wise. Again, you guys were saying that the GT cars are faster. Be able to get more caution to these guys if they do bottleneck through these treacherous corners here at Watkins Glen. Again, being my first race here at this track with these cars, and I'm actually very excited to see how this race unfolds.
Absolutely, Tyler. Here they come into one of the more notable corners here at Watkins Glen International. The bus stop, pretty much an inverse of Daytona, especially when the Rolex 24 is coming up this weekend on iRacing. This is also a corner that can really make or break you for the prototypes. It's very fast. It's very sweeping. This is going to be tough here. You do not want to go side by side into this corner.
Yeah, the bus stop is one of the trickier corners in any kind of racing, especially at Watkins Glen. So it's going to be interesting to see, like I said, just how patient everybody is, especially on this first lap, to try to get filed out and then race it out from there.
One driver missed the call to the grid. That is Michael Donlin in the 524. And I believe as well we do have one driver starting from the rear for this, and that is Jason Metcalf. Glenn, this will be an interesting challenge to see if he can go from the rear and make his way all the way up to the front of the prototype division.
Oh, most definitely. I see. Like I said, he's very fast. You guys seen it in qualifying, or not qualifying, but practice here. He was he was the fastest guy in practice. there's no doubt that he won't very cautiously but very smart move his way up through the field to get back up to the front.
Another driver I believe we are hearing also starting from the rear, that missed the call to the grid, and that is John Navarra in the number 99. So as of right now, we have 15 prototypes that we will see take the green flag when they head into the 90 of turn number 1. Again, long pace lap around the Glen. Drivers just getting their thoughts together. Just got to figure out here, Tyler, how not to mess up lap 1, turn 1.
Absolutely. I'm set to get ready to take the green flag. I'm honestly just really excited. I think this is going to be a very, very fun race from start to finish. As we said, 2 hours on the clock, and it's about to get started.
As they come out of the boot, they are ready to go and take the green flag. As we confirm this here with you, the overall leader, which is Alfredo Morales and Adrian Garcia Vigil, on the front row. The number 31 is on the pole. He can fire whenever he wants after the pace car leaves the track. So glad you could join us on Speed Demon TV. It's the second split of the America Sportsman for the 2 hours of the Glen. The season starts right here in the twists and turns of New York. Off of turn 11, the iRacing pace car makes the right-hand turn to pit road. Let's go racing at the Glen. And Vigil makes a late start, fires on the green flag, but Morales gets the jump as they head into turn number 1. Couple of drivers fading back early. Morales clears on Vigil, then it's Nunez, then Curry and Tucker in a side-by-side battle for 4th position as we got one sideways already. I believe that is Stan Legowski in the 239 as the GTs are green, Tyler.
Yeah, and down through the S's already, we got Morales way out front, got a pretty hefty advantage, probably about a half second already. And just kind of taking it easy. We're seeing a lot of single file action already spreading out through the bus stop, which is probably the best idea for them.
Prototypes are looking clean to the bus stop, and here come the GT traffic as they enter that bus stop. Everyone's staying single file, looked clean off the start. It's Wilson Jr. has the advantage. One is in the grass, and that is Feller in the 006 Porsche. He keeps it going. Does not have an issue at all, just loses a couple of spots, Glenn.
Oh, yeah, looks like he's going to be trying to rally his way back up through here. Little mishap, but there's a long race here. He can make his way back up through here. As we see David A. Wilson Jr. just starting to set the pace for the GT group here.
Already has opened up the gap to a couple of seconds. The best battle on track is happening right here as Garcia Vigil may have actually lost a couple of spots from the start. He's fallen all the way back to 8th position in the prototype category as they leave the booth. There is another driver that is slow. That's the 83 of Richard Curry, who is off the pace. Just listening on board. I think he still has power. I think he's just trying to let the field go by. Doesn't want to take a big risk here, Tyler, and get involved in a wreck early. And he's bringing it into pit road.
Yeah, these guys so far through the first lap, minus a couple, having a really good time getting through everything. So kind of impressed with how we're seeing it all turn out, and I'm having some technical difficulties, so I'll return here in just a moment.
Here's the battle for second. Steve Jones to the inside on Daniel Nunez. He's got to run into the bus stop. Who gets the outbreak here? Lou Nunez lets Jones goes by. A perfect pass for second there, Glenn.
Oh, yeah, messed up. I was looking back here. It looks like David A. Wilson Jr. has actually stretched his gap over Eric E-News back here in second place with the GT3s here. Got a little bit of a you got Richard Curry back here off the pit stop there in the mix between these GT3 guys. As you were talking, Jason Metcalf back here slowly making his way back up through the field after missing the start here. Knowing everybody that he has a fast car here, I think he's just trying to pace himself early in this race and maybe be able to counter it out after the I bet you about the hour mark he'll start turning it on here, getting that last hour going.
Let's go to the battle for fourth here in Class 2. Porsches going after each other. Kyle Fredrickson and Nicholas Feller. That is in the little bit of a hairpin in the bus stop. I'd pretty much say that's at the toe. of the bus stop. Let's see if he gets a run down the back, down the straightaway. And he tries to outbrake him into the corner, and Fredrickson lets him go. So Nicholas Feller moves his way up into 4th position, and here comes the Ferrari of E.J. Fulner into the battle as well. Started in 24th position, has made his way up to the lead. We got one in the pits already here, Tyler, if you can hear us still. David Callahan has brought his Dallara back to the pits. Oh, trouble behind them. Chris Bowler, I believe, has crashed in the 37, and he has. That is in the exit of the boot, I believe. Let's take a look here and confirm that is in the exit. As you can see, the green highlight around his number. He must have just had a little bit too much right foot there.
Yeah, you can get that wise if you overshoot these corners, like I was saying, and right before these guys went to green. Got to try to stay in that rhythm. Road courses are known to literally get you out of your rhythm. Once you get you out of the rhythm, it takes a couple laps to get you back into that rhythm to actually get you back going.
Let's go to the prototype division. A nice battle on the line for 6th position. Garcia, Vigil, Lalonde, and Lee Tucker all staying nose to tail at the moment, single file. No one really making any big moves. Also have in there in 9th the 696 of Marc-Andre Saint-Amand.
Most definitely. As we see it getting a battle starting to heat up between the G3s here with Kyle Fredrickson and EJ Fulner. Takes an inside move on him, wise, as they go through the carousel right there. He does get the position from him.
That's the same move Fredrickson did. Just let the Ferrari go by, but Fredrickson maybe trying to answer back. Fulner trying to break the draft, and I believe the leaders... No, but see, we thought for a moment the leaders were all in prototype, were already in GT3 traffic, but not quite at the moment. Alfredo Morales, the race leader in the 218, has the fastest lap for the prototypes at a 1:34.15. Continues to crack off some good lap times early here. Morales, likely the key driver to watch out for here tonight early. But hey, long race yet left to go here, Tyler. We're just 5 minutes in.
Yeah, still trying to solve these technical difficulties, but Morales had a really great start. Got pulled away, got out in clean air, which, believe it or not, still matters even in these cars. So he's just had a really good job of getting out there and having the best start possible.
Trouble for Ron McPherson in the Ferrari. Nope, excuse me, had a little bit of a technical difficulty. Let's go back over to the GT3 division. There's a battle for 15. Steve Piplinski, Patrick Stein, and Pat Armand here, Glenn.
Oh, yeah, we're seeing to slowly start a battle here between these guys. As they get in the line here, I believe they're trying to run down that Porsche to actually get that spot for all 3 of them there. As we get through here, going through the bus stop.
Piplinski, Piplinski, I think, tried to make a move, but Troger cut him off as they entered the bus stop. So nice defense early for the 371. Started from 11th in class, but has dropped his way all the way back to 14th. So right now, David Wilson currently leading in the Ferrari by about 2.3 seconds on the BMW of Eric Ewins. Off to an early start here so far.
As Morales, we see that right now, Jason McCaff's actually slowly making his way back to the field. He's made it back up to his group, and he's up to 13th in the prototypes right now.
He's looking
for 12th.
Yeah, he's going by Langowski in the 239, who I believe went to pit road earlier, if I recall correctly, but Metcalf easily makes that pass for P12 on the track. Let's keep it up with the prototypes here as Lalonde lets traffic go by. I believe Lee Tucker just made the pass for 7th spot, and he did.
As you see now here, Marty, the prototypes are slowly getting down to the traffic with the GT3s here. Let's see if this could actually, might be able to slow up and get Jones here, wise, to be able to take the top spot from Morales here.
You see the map on your screen. Morales already in a flurry of GT3 back markers, and Jones has closed in. This is the battle for the lead overall in the prototype category in turn 1. Morales stuck. Remember, this is what they say in the driver's meeting here. If you're GT3 traffic, Hold your racing line. The prototypes will find a way around you. Do not pull off, because if you pull off, it will make it less predictable for the prototype drivers on where to make a pass. But here comes Steve Jones, looking to go up on the outside as they go into this bus stop. And Jones doesn't get ready to make that move yet. Tough place to make a move on entry. Morales keeps the race lead. Where would be the best place to pass here, Glenn?
Honestly, I would say carousel. If you get in there, get the nose in there, but not like touch-wise. You get the nose in there, or in a straightaway, get the draft off him. Try to get that inside line, knowing that next corner he's going to need it, and you can make a move on him there.
That's on board with Jonesy in the number 53 as they're continuing to rattle their way through the GT3 traffic. Let's go to another battle, and that's the battle for 6th position. Garcia Vigil getting chased by Don Dolson in the 040. Dolson, one to watch out for, one of the higher drivers from Sportsman in point standings last season. As we take a look here amongst the drivers' standings from last year, he finished 14th in points. Back up front to that battle for the lead. Morales has opened up a gap on Jones by about 1.2 seconds. And we have a new fastest lap of the race, pardon me there. It's Richard Curry, just hit a 133.81.
Yeah, Morales got through that lap traffic back there out of the, I believe, turn 11 and 12. Actually, that's the NASCAR circuit. It'll probably be the 15th and 16th corner there. He actually got through that lap traffic a whole lot better than Jones did, which gave him that little bit of a gap he has right now.
Good battle for 9th. You see on your screen in the GT class, that is Joshua Mertz and Sean Miller, both of them BMWs in the 23 and 084 respectively. Let's see if Miller tries to make a move. He cannot, as that is a prototype going by. I believe that is the 005 of David Callahan making a move. Yes, that is. Trying to make his way up after a crash early on. And we got trouble once again, and that is with Steve Peplinski we are hearing. Excuse me, that was another lag situation. Let's go back over to the prototypes and watch the battle between Dolson and St. Amand. Dolson was able to make a pass while in the traffic. Let's see if we have a replay here for you. We'll take a look at the Speed Demon replay and show you how Dolson was able to make that pass. This was down the back straightaway, and there was actually a blink, I think, by Garcia Vigil, and it was. So let's see how... Oh, Dolson... Was there a teleportation or something? I think there may have been. But we now hear that Dolson has fallen back to 7th position on Garcia Vigil. We'll keep watching as we got a battle for the lead happening once again, as we are hearing Morales has blinked for just a moment. And Steve Jones makes the move around the outside to take the race lead. In the 53, we've got a new leader for the first time overall today.
As we see here, it kind of looks like Morales actually's got some nose damage. I don't know.
Oh, he does. Look at that right front.
Yeah, it's kind of pancaked on it right there. I don't know if he was trying to go through some lap traffic there and it caused it or not. It looks like his back end's a little messed up as well.
We'll take a look here and see if we can get on board with the car behind him. We'll wait. Yeah, there's some. Well, we should get a nice shot here of the rear end. There is some rear end damage. Let me see if there was some I don't think we can gather up the replay. We've got nothing to show you contact at the moment as he exits the boot, but it's currently losing a lot of time. Steve Jones is already 5 seconds ahead of the Canadian.
As I just heard from comps there.
Oh, trouble behind them. That is Mertz and Armand. Oh, he takes out a prototype. Oh, my goodness. That's the 239 of Longowski. Oh, my goodness. That was bad. A bad move by Armand to keep it on the gas. I know he was trying to get the car going, but when you have a situation like that, just tow that bad boy away as we take a look at our replay and show you what just took place. They were battling for a position. That is exiting the booth. They simply get together. And then watch this as he tries to get it going. Boom! Oh my goodness, Lengowski took the worst shot of all of them. That was wicked. And we do have an onboard with Lengowski that can show you how hard that shot was. He just did not expect the Porsche to get back on the gas like that. So a couple of drivers out of the race early, 14 minutes in. Meanwhile, Steve Jones continues to lead in prototype. In the GT category, it's still David Wilson out in front by 3.4 seconds. Jones currently has put up a huge gap. Daniel Nunes has made his way up to P2. The gap is now 12.3 seconds over Nunes. Nunes currently in turn 11 at the moment, and I think, do I see some front-end damage on the 471? Nope, I do not. I thought I did for just a moment. But let's talk about Jones at the moment. Currently with a fast car, what do you expect from him early on here? He is putting down faster laps by just about a second, Glenn.
Well, right now, his competition was, until it got damage, was Morales. And him actually going to the pits trying to see what's wrong with his car has literally opened his gap up to be able to maneuver where he needs to. When they were in lap traffic, he was trying to judge where Morales was going. Now, with Jones literally having the opportunity of fresh air and by himself, he can literally stick that car anywhere he needs to, meaning the laps that he's putting down right now.
We can tell you at the moment, Morales is still on the lead lap in the prototype class. That's all we can share for you at the moment. We do have a good battle that's taking place in the prototype division still. Don Dolson has lost a little bit of time to Garcia Vigil, and right behind him is Drew Ladon in the battle for 8th spot. They started in reversed positions. Dolson started 9th, Lalonde started in 8th when they took the green flag rim.
Most definitely. As I was looking here, biggest mover I've seen so far, we were talking about him, he did not take the grid, and he had to start the rear, was Jason Metcalf. He's actually made it all the way up to 7th place right now. He is literally on the move.
Metcalf's quickest lap is a 1:33.83. He is having a great night so far. And trouble we are hearing with a couple of drivers. Keith, oh, that is, I think Giberson just crashed out of second position. Let's pull him up for you. There's Ostriker in the Lamborghini. That is in the GT category. Let's take a look and see what just took place. If we can pull it up. We've been having a little bit of technical difficulties these past few days. But let's see what happened. That's Ostriker. Where does Giberson come into this? Ah, that spin happened right in front of him with Giberson, who has not had a great start so far this to his race. So here's what happens. Did he lose it in the corner? Yeah, the rear end just came out from underneath them, Grim. What do you think happened to the car?
To me, the way I see it, actually ran it back there. It looked like he just got into that corner way too hot. He was trying to get more out of the car than what the car could actually put down on the track for him, and the rear end got loose on him and spun out. As we see here, Stephen P. Jones has literally stretched it out on Dave Nunes to a 15-second lead right now.
Something else we got to think of at the moment. I know it's really a little bit early to talk about it, but pit stops will be a factor in this event. So that could be key as well, as Jones currently has clean air in front of him. That's going to really help with his lap times. He just put off a 1:34.34 on his last lap and was just about a 10th off from his best time.
I'm gonna make a prediction here.
Yeah, go
Early
on,
in
go
the
for it.
race. I feel like Metcalf's gonna take this win. We're only at 24 minutes in. I just have a feeling Metcalf's gonna come up here and take it.
Remember, Metcalf was the quickest in prototype practice. So again, long way to go for the drivers. Let's go back over to GT as we've got a good battle on our hands starting to develop. And that is between Eric Ewins and Nicholas Feller. That's the battle for second in BMWs and Porsches respectively. There's Ewins, currently your second place car at the moment. And let's compare the lap times for the last 5 laps for these drivers. That's compared to the leader. We want to show you second and third. You see Feller has been completely faster the last 3 laps. On lap 9, Feller was a second quicker.
Well, I've also seen here, Marty, talking about these two guys. They actually are slowly starting to reel in the leader of David A. Wilson Jr. here, little by little. Because that lead he had was actually, he had a really big lead. Right now, they're slowly starting to reel him in, though.
Well, actually, when you look at it, for the last 5 laps, Wilson has been completely faster by a lot. Lap 9, he was 1.1 seconds faster than second place Ewins. Oh, Morales has crashed it. Morales has spun it around in the exit of the boot. That is in turn number 9. It is going from bad to worse for the prototype driver of the 218. And we'll take a look at the replay to show you what just took place with Alfredo. I would assume he lost control of the car, but I may have heard some contact. He looked inside of the Porsche. Oh, there was contact with Feller. Well, Morales was already loose, so he couldn't control that.
I'm looking here, Wise. Ain't about much. I don't know if it's just because Stephen P. Jones is actually in traffic right now, but not by much. But David Nunez is actually not a whole lot, but catching him. He's got a big gap to fill, but I think he's took about 5/10 out of his. Oh, we got a spin.
We'll check here. Oh, trouble behind them. That's David Williamson in the 36. Nope, I think we're good. I think we are good. As I was saying, let's compare the lap times from the last 5 laps. Jones has actually been slower compared to Nunez. You look at lap number 12, Jones was 1.2 seconds slower, but the gap is down to 15 seconds. So still a lot of time for the drivers. Let's go over to GT as we watch a battle on our hands. This is for 9th in class. It's a battle between a McLaren and a Ferrari. F1 coming over to IMSA. Mark Redeker and Patrick Stein duking at it.
Marty, as I've seen here, it kind of looked like Morales lost it again. Going through the same corner, he got loose and got contact there with Fuller. Morales is just going from bad to worse here. Wise, I don't know if it's the damage of the car or just the handling's gone away on that car with the damage that he has.
Let's take a look and watch that battle for 8th in class between Redeker and Stein. Gap has started to increase just a little bit, up to about 0.8 of a second. You see that prototype behind saying, "Come on, it's time to go." I'm coming on by, so move out of the way. That's the number 53 of Jones, your leader. And so they give Jones easy work. Another battle in GT. Langowski and Fredrickson. Langowski has actually the battle for 21st overall in the race, but not a big factor in terms of what they're battling for in class. Closest battle on track at the moment is the battle for second position. Lee Tucker has closed in on Daniel Nunez as they make their way up into the S's on board with Tucker. He's got the slipstream, his big advantage. Oh, almost got into that GT car. Was not on the racing groove as they come into the bus stop. Tucker hops the curve. And here goes Tucker. He's got the run in the carousel. Nearly making contact there. And Tucker takes away second spot from Nunez. But it's not over yet. Nunez trying to fight back on the inside in the chute. Great driving from Lee Tucker. He is up to second after starting sixth earlier in this race.
Now, does he have a fast enough car here to catch Jones?
It is.
Even though
the gap is 16 seconds at the moment. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good. As I was saying, as you said, last couple laps, Jones has been running slower lap times compared to the, actually, the way we see it, are probably slower than Tucker and Nunez here, so.
Let's go back to the battle for second in class. Feller was able to pass Ewins a couple of moments ago. And we can see what happens. Oh, reports Metcalf went off track. Nope, we're good there. Let's watch and see how Feller was able to make the pass on Ewins for second position. You see it right there. Ewins got really tight on the exit of the boot. And Feller was able to make the pass, even despite a little bit of front end damage. Still working out well for him, up in his sixth spot. Let's go to another battle in the GT, and that is Colin Tabor, Mark Redeker, Patrick Stein. We were watching earlier on. They are in the bus stop. Two Ferraris and a McLaren go at it. That is for 8th in class.
As we sit here right now watching in the GT3 class here, David A. Wilson Jr. literally is just have a clinic on his own right now. From the start here, he has his own space, nobody behind him, no one in front of him. He can literally run his own racing line right now.
7.5 seconds is the gap on Nicholas Feller. No one currently behind him or ahead of him at the moment. He'll probably have someone behind him when they enter the boot. For some of these drivers, by the way, in league racing, this could be their first time using the newly configured Watkins Glen International. I shouldn't say newly configured, but an updated Watkins Glen International. Remember, the track was rescanned for the fresher texture and updated graphics, and just absolutely looks stunning. You see on your screen, Don Dolson has lost a little bit more time. Patrick Kopp, wine position number 10. Right on board with Kopp in the 013 Dallara. Trouble behind them. We're hearing Kyle Fredrickson has crashed, and that brings out a local yellow. That was in the 90 in turn number 1 with the Porsche Retro Machine. Let's double check and see what happened with Fredrickson. I would assume here, Glenn, that he lost control. And he did. Wheel hopped into the 90. At the moment for Fredrickson, currently running 7th in class at the moment. Traffic starts to go by him just a little bit. Let's go back to that GT3 battle we've been watching really closely as Redeker and Stein still go at it. Tabor has pulled away from the drivers behind him and looks to close the gap. At the moment, they do have a back marker that separates them, I believe. Nope, they are still closing in as they've got a prototype working on them. That is Saint Amant in the 696. A couple of drivers we are hearing went off track. Williamson and Tucker both went off for a couple of moments. There's Williamson in the 36 Mercedes. Currently 15th in class. Back to the battle for second. Here we go. Pit stops underway as Lee Tucker brings the 032 into the pits.
Yeah, pit stops are going to be crucial here. You guys got to really hit your marks here, get more advantage here. If you guys are literally far in the back and you're trying to get a little bit of adjustments here, get them in wise before your next stop. But as we see Tucker finally hitting in his pit stop here.
30 minutes in, just a quarter of the way through the 2 hours of the Glen, as Tucker brings his machine into pit road. Pit road speed here is at just about 45 miles an hour. You're hearing the number 83 also in, Richard Curry, but he's been in for just a little while now. You'll see pit stop times updated on the bottom of your screen so you know when your favorite driver is coming into the pits. We are seeing more drivers come on in, like Mike O'Donnell is in pit road as well. Let's go to another battle. Jason Metcalf, we were talking about him earlier. He is up to third and wants second on Daniel Nunes. He is closing in big time. Compare the lap times. Look at that. Last lap, Metcalf was 3 seconds faster than Nunes. Can you believe that?
No, man, I can't. Actually, I can believe that, honestly. The way how fast he was in practice and then really didn't get to see much since he couldn't make the grid. We're seeing it now how fast that number 30 is.
Great race for him so far. Again, currently running third. He took an EOL to begin the night as he knew he was one of the fastest here. He's got one of those virtual racing school machines. Continues to close in, and we got trouble. We are hearing Gary Beal has crashed in the McLaren. And we'll double check that to see what happened on. Oh, he took a. That is in the bus stop. He just popped the curb and just lost control, and that is a shot driver's side. And we've got an onboard with Beal to show you what happened. That's as it came into the scene. So when you take a shot like that driver's side in the tires, it's not good. But here we go for second spot, Glenn. Metcalf is right there on the rear as we ride on board with Nunes.
It's getting closer. I feel like, even with traffic-wise, I still feel like Metcalf has a stronger force here to actually be able to get around him.
It's right on board here with Metcalf. He's got, he had to deal with that car behind that was on the racing line. So Metcalf loses just a little bit of time to Nunes. And let's see where Metcalf can make the move. If you're Jason, I would assume here you just get the slipstream up into the S's and then try and make the pass in the carousel in the outer loop.
Or he could just be biding his time right now, knowing that they're going to be going to go pits here soon, as we've seen a couple go in already.
Absolutely. Pit stops underway for a lot of drivers right now, just 31 minutes into this race. Still working on some traffic. I believe that is a Ferrari, and that they are in front of. Can't tell the number. That's your
David. That's David.
Yes.
Jr.
That's the leader in GT, as he lets the battle for second go on. Again on board with Metcalf. Both running the same apexes in the corners and using as much pavement as they can to get grip on the exit. Let's check back in with Isley and see if he's got something for us. Tyler, you still there? You fixed your technical difficulties?
Yeah, we finally seem to have something figured out.
All right. What are you liking about this battle for second at the moment?
Oh, hang on, let me.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, trouble in the bus stop. Don Dolson has gone off track, and he's got front end damage in the 040. That puts him back to 12th in class, and we'll queue up a replay. Just a little bit too much curve. Oh, that's a heavy shot. Head on into the tires. Thank goodness that didn't do too much damage to Dolson, but he is in the pits for a lot of required repair time. Here we go. Metcalf inside. Come to the bus stop. Can he make this pass work, or does Nunes cut him off? Yes, Nunes shuts the door. But Metcalf's got to run the exit. Into the carousel they go. He tries the inside. Oh, they make contact. Nunes, can he save it? No, he can't. Around goes Nunes in the outer loop, and Metcalf goes up to second. He makes contact with another prototype. That's the 31 who is out of the ballpark. That was Vigil who took a heavy shot with the front end, which is gone. The drama of Watkins Glen, ladies and gentlemen. As Metcalf goes up to second. Remember, drivers can file protests after the race, not per iRacing, but per their website. As you watch the replay in the carousel,
Metcalf's coming up to a wreck with GT3s as well. A couple of GT3s cars around, able to make it through cleanly, but
we're hearing
another
that
scary moment in the same lap.
We are hearing that's Kyle Hackett that crashed. It's getting nasty here early. Let's go back and watch the onboard. That's from Nunez. We want Metcalf. Oh, he had to run underneath, and Nunez just tried to cut that off, and around went Nunez. Now this is where it gets scary, as he tries to come back onto the track. He thinks he's good. Oh, right there is Vigil, and he goes up on his lid, man, and into where the track marshals are normally be. Let's see if we can watch one more on board. We'll go to Vigil this time. Just minding his own business. He knows the local yellow is out in this area, so he's slowing down. Oh, just like we saw earlier in that prior accident, Glenn.
Oh, yes, most definitely here. See, I don't know, the standpoint there is, I mean, I understand we have a long way to go here, about an hour and 20 minutes left in this race here. I mean, if I was literally Nunez, I'd have cut Metcalf break and let him go. Because he tried multiple times to try to get around him. Not saying he got to him on purpose. It's just, it's really early in this race. He could have always got back to him.
Metcalf currently running in the second position. Gap is just about 24 seconds at the moment. Let's go through a full field rundown at the moment. We'll start things off with the prototypes that are currently running before GT traffic. Steve Jones is the race leader. Jason Metcalf running in second. Rob Courtney coming into the pits. He is third. Patrick Kopp is fourth. Lee Tucker is fifth. Russ Lundberg is sixth. David Callahan is seventh. Eighth is Drew Lalonde. Marc-Andre Saint-Amant is ninth. Daniel Nunez rounds out the top 10. Bruce Hilton is 11th. Adrian Garcia Vigil has come back onto the track using his quick repair, back in 12th position. Dan Legowski is 13th, and Don Dolson is 14th. Before you reach the first GT car, Tyler, give us the full field rundown for GT traffic at the moment.
Yeah, the leader currently in GT looks to be Nicholas Feller.
Oh, excuse me. That's David Wilson in the 039.
Yeah, I'm having a... What in the world is going on, dude? Everything
No
is all
worries.
messed up. I apologize.
No worries.
Yeah, everything
figure
is
it out
all
for
messed
you.
up right now.
No
Yeah,
worries. We'll figure it out for you.
killing me.
David Wilson, the leader. Bruce Jackson is second. Eric Ewins is still in third. Nicholas Feller is fourth. EJ Fuhner is fifth. Sixth, John Miller. Kyle Fredrickson is seventh. Colin Tabor is eighth. Patrick Stein is ninth. Mark Redeker is 10th. Glenn?
My actual list is messed up right now. I'm sorry, I'm already.
Yeah,
Okay.
like it's all messed up. It's not even
All
right.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
All right, we'll figure it out. James Troger is 11th. Shannon Gray 12th. David Williamson is 13th. Scott Kukas is 14th. Keith Ostraker is 15th. Steve Giberson is 16th. Chris Bowler is 17th. 18th is Stacy Hunter, exiting pit road. 19th, Kyle Hackett. 20th, Michael Donlin. 21st, Ron McPherson. 22nd, Steve Piplinski. 23rd is Josh Mertz. 24th, Ty Basile. 25th, Gary Beal. 26th, Brian Sweetman. And out of the race are Gregory Rourke, Pat Arman in GT3, and in prototype is John Navarro. Leaders are in the pits, and Steve Jones is making his way out for his first stop of the race, just inside the 38th minute. Jason Metcalf is in the pits. Patrick Kopp is on his way into his stall.
is also David Nunez is in pit road as well, right behind Jason Metcalf here, taking his pits as well. Looks like they're going to be soon be leaving out here to get going here back on track. The thing is that with that being there is that's given Steve Jones a lot more breathing room.
Yes.
With them being
Remember,
on pit road still.
remember, by the way, longer stop for Metcalf at 58 seconds. And the reason why, again, that's because he had the damage with Nunez in that accident. So he is back in fourth after all of that. So pretty much everyone has made a pit stop except for the lead GT cars, as Lee Tucker has cycled his way up to second and Rob Courtney is in third position. Let's go back to the GT battles happening on the track. We haven't talked about Bruce Jackson yet. One of two Audis in the field has made his way up to second in class, and we'll check
Not
and
a
see.
prototype around.
Yes, that is.
31. That's Garcia Vigil.
That's Garcia Vigil. That is in a blind spot in the exit of the boot. Remember, he already used his quick repair for a prior accident. The local yellow is out, but I don't think drivers really know what's going on here. He's on the racing groove. Ooh, that's close there, and he gets it going without no big issues.
That was right in front of the leader there too. So that was very sketchy on that part for that. Made everybody made around there, which was great.
Oh, man. Oh, and a head-on shot into that guardrail. And I believe you said it was right in front of the leader?
I believe so, because Jones
Yeah,
was the leader
Wilson.
after
Wilson was
yeah.
coming into this, and also Jones went by that too, the leader Jones. So a couple of close calls here.
Oh, as we see right now, Tucker just lost it out of the bus stop, nosed it into the wall, going through the carousel.
Oh man, big shot for Tucker. And you are right, that is in the carousel area. Again, you see his number outlined. He's entering the boot. I don't know if there's a lot of front-end damage with his car if he nosed it in the wall. But I think he is good to go for right now. Again, he's second currently in class. And he is 15 seconds in front of Rob Courtney. So still maintains second, though. But loses the gap up to 23 seconds behind Jones.
It looks like right now, while I see pit stops, changing the whole field right now for the prototypes right now, is we got Rob Courtney here in third right now.
Yes, Courtney with a good race so far early here, as that is a lap car in behind him. Jason Metcalf currently 7 seconds back, looking for that third position. Later on when we take the green, we got a Mercedes around, and I think that is that William? No, that is Scott Kukas that has crashed it, that has spun it around, and is in the grass again. That's in that blind area. We're doing this, Chris. Gotta be careful. If he goes the wrong way, he could get a disqualification for that.
As we're seeing here, I'm trying to look through the pit stops here.
Currently, it's when I see no drivers are in pit road at the moment.
I was gonna say Nunez had a really bad stop. He actually is clear back in 13th.
Remember, Nunez had used the damage that he had repaired, because that was a minute stop that he had taken place in order to repair the damage that was involved in that accident with Vigil. So for those of you wondering at home, that is your update on that.
I want to point out, it looks like Bruce Jackson's making some gains on David Wilson for the lead of the GT3 class.
Gap is
David
currently
Wilson still pushing through.
Gap is currently 10 seconds. You see the last 5 laps compared to the leader. Wilson has been slower in 4 of the last 5. It is down to 11 seconds. Jackson was one that started from the rear from about 17th in class, I want to say, just about. Overall, it was from the 31st position, for those wondering at home. Nicholas Feller and Eric Ewins, I got to tell you something nicely. They have had an incredible battle so far this entire race. They were battling for second until Jackson got by us. We got trouble once again. Oh, hang on. That was Feller that just caught the wall, actually. And the accident, that cost him a lot of time to E-wins as we saw Kyle Hackett go around. That is out of turn 11. And here's the replay. I think he just lost it by himself. He caught the curbing. That's what happened.
Also, just a moment ago, as GT3 leader David Wilson was coming out of the final corner to take the start-finish line to complete lap number 23, another GT3 car was around out of that final corner.
I think you are talking about, I think you are referring to Hackett in that case. Vigil, by the way, back in the pits. Get a look at Don Dolson, currently running in 13th position. And here's the battle for third position. Jason Metcalf is looking on Rob Courtney, trying to close in. He looks to the inside with a Mercedes right in front of them. Metcalf backs out of it. And that is in the heel or the toe of the booty? Oh, what a pass to the inside. A BMW. Yeah, a BMW slowed up Courtney. And Metcalf hits the easy button and says, thank you very much, back markers. I'll take third.
All of this going on in front of David Wilson, by the way, who's just behind those two LMPs and behind that BMW currently.
There's Wilson currently exiting the boot at the moment. He's led all the laps so far in the GT3 category, about to put a BMW, I believe, another lap down. I think that's Josh Mertz in the 23, and it is that he is putting a lap down.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm looking at these, I don't know the variables right now, but I'm telling you right now, Bruce Jackson is literally, with this traffic blocking up David Wilson, he is catching him. I've been looking between intervals, between cameras here.
Look at that. We just had the lap times pop up, and Jackson was literally over 2 seconds faster compared to Wilson. Let's ride on board and we can compare the sectors to the leaders. 5 sectors around Watkins Glen. They come for sector 1. Let's pull up the track map to show you where the sectors end. If you can see them, they're those red dots when they pop up. Wilson a quarter second slower in sector 1. Sector 2 coming, just about here. Right here at the line. Wilson about a 10th slower in sector 2. That's not Wilson in front of him. That's another lap car. Wilson somewhere in the toe of the boot. Coming to sector 3. Do we have one sideways? 2 of them got the tires. Yeah. And that was McPherson, who was literally right in front of second place. Let's watch that once again. The Audis in the background right there. McPherson just got in there way too tight and slammed the tires. Came in way too hot. Not a good.
I'll make a quick statement. Jason Metcalf's made his way back up to third, so after having to fix the damage, he has made up or had no trouble.
And McPherson
back through the field.
Loses it once again. Has to go in the runoff in turn number 10. Don't forget, for those wondering at home, there is an incident limit that is set up. The DQ limit, if I recall correctly, I think is somewhere in about 50x, I think. One of you will have to confirm that for me at home.
Yeah, taking a look here. Incident limit is 40x.
40x, okay.
Evening.
So again, we're not sure where drivers are at the moment in terms of the X's. So you see Bruce Jackson again in that Audi. We'll try and compare sectors once again for you. Oh, sector 1. 0.6 of a second faster. That's big.
Right now, too, Bruce Jackson is going through a lot of traffic right now. As David Wilson looks like he's got a lot of clean air right now here. Gotten through all that traffic.
He's got to try to as well at the same time. try and let the prototypes go by him. So this may be a slower lap, but he has cut the gap down to 8.8 seconds at the moment. Yeah, in Sector 3, Wilson picked up 1.5 seconds in the Ferrari. Again, the top 6 drivers in GT on the bottom of our leaderboard: Wilson, Jackson, Ewens, Fulner, Miller, and Fredrickson. They have all yet to pit. Try and find another good battle here on track. This may be the closest one for 7th in GT3. This is Nicholas Feller and Patrick Stein in a Porsche and a Ferrari, respectively.
As we see here, I'm looking on board here with Metcalf. He's actually about 2 corners distance to Lee Tucker here. He is on a move.
7 seconds the gap between Tucker and Metcalf at the moment. Last time by, Metcalf was just about 2.5 seconds faster, and Tucker just about to enter turn number 10. Trouble, we've got Joshua Mertz in the BMW. That's gone around, and that is in the XM. We got more trouble. Peplinski may have been a part of that as well, as he missed it. Maybe Hackett too. Hackett's in the pits, and I'm hearing Patrick Kopp also involved in that accident.
Quick little update on the GT3. Should be seeing pit stops starting about 10 to 15 minutes. I believe these guys can go about an hour on fuel when the GT3 cars. They have a little bit longer of a fuel stint than the LMP cars.
Oh, Mertz caught the Ferrari of, I want to say that was either Hackett or that was Peplinski. Just looking to confirm, that was Peplinski in the Ferrari that he got into that sent him sideways, but nothing really major in that wreck as we continue to stay under the green flag.
While you guys were covering that, Lee Tucker actually is making his pit stop here, which moves McCaff up to 2nd here in the prototypes.
Yes, a long stop from Tucker. He is exiting right now with a 39-second stop, going back into the 8th position on track for those wondering at home. So a good attempt by Tucker to try and hold it
got
off.
a little close there. McCaff had to split it between 3 GT3 cars there. They were in a bad S-turn there. Good driving by him right there. That could have been a lot more worse than it was.
Now, Isley, you know pit stops better than I do, but Tucker has 7 laps fresher tires, by the way, compared to the leader, Steve Jones. Will that help him out a lot or no?
It could. I mean, these things really don't chew up tires a whole awful lot from the little that I know. I remember watching like the Rolex 24 last year, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and I never really noticed tire wear being a problem compared to what you'd see with the with something like NASCAR or stuff like that around here. Tire wear is not the issue. It's just fuel strategy. So maybe he's just trying to play a little bit of strategy into this thing.
So we've got Langowski in the number 239 machine. Not really a whole lot of big battles happening on track, but Steve Jones, meanwhile, continues to lead in the number 53, and the gap is up to 41 seconds thanks to all this traffic. They're working with Steve Jones pretty well today, as that gap pretty much has been increasing on 2nd place this entire race.
Yeah, we continue. I'm sitting here watching Metcalf right now, and he's trying to battle his way around a fellow prototype car. I believe it's a 005.
Callahan, I believe you're right. And that is.
Yes, so, I mean, he's working his way around. He's having a little bit of trouble getting through it, but, I mean, all the misfortune he's had throughout the early part of the race, having to take a little bit longer on one of the pit stops for repairs as he's finally getting around Callahan. just good to see him. He's making up ground slowly but surely. I just think he's way too far back. I mean, we're now almost an hour into this race, and we'll just have to see what comes of it.
Let's talk about a couple of other drivers here. Let's update you back on GT3 as Bruce Jackson has actually lost the gap on David Wilson. It has increased up to 10 seconds. And again, some of these GT3 drivers, they have yet to pit. I don't think Jackson has a lot of damage compared to Wilson. Again, Wilson has led this entire race in GT3 today. So entering the 54th minute of the 2 hours of the Glen. While we're at it, gives you this opportunity to tell you about the next event coming up for the Majors Series. It is the Daytona 500 for the next-gen cars on February 6th for 200 laps around the World Center of Racing for the Major Series. So check out for further details. Make sure you check out MAJORseries.com when that event begins. Under a month away. Oh, right in front of Jackson. A car got the wall. I'm not too sure who that was. It's next to Ewins. So we're trying to confirm the number here. But because of that, that has also allowed Ewins to close in on Bruce Jackson. So this is pretty much the best battle on track in the GT3 category for second spot at the moment. Glenn, how have you liked Ewins so far today in that liquid moly BMW machine?
I mean, he's been kind of a sleeper most of the race here so with the GT guys. I believe he gridded up pretty back in the good part of the field with the GT3 guys. He's made his way up here to third place behind Bruce Jackson here and David A. Wilson Jr. here. So I feel like he's doing a great run right now in this really right now at the halfway stint of this race.
Trouble for Daniel Nunez. That is in the 90 in turn 1 at pit road exit, but should not be a huge issue at all to many of the drivers. And we have another crash with Stacy Hunter, and that is in the boot, I believe. Let's try and see where he is. Yes, that is just past the toe of the boot, about to enter the heel. And we will check those two situations out. Hunter 17th in class. As for Nunez, 10th in class currently. Here's Nunez in turn 1. As the rear end goes out from underneath him once again. But doesn't hit a single thing. Now we go to Stacy Hunter in the Lambo. That same car that got the wall in turn 11 was also letting drivers go at the same time. And then, oh, he caught the grass. And, oh, he just clips the inside wall, but nothing too serious for Stacy. And I think the driver of the 39 can keep it going at the moment.
Let's take another. David Wilson continues to extend his gap over Bruce Jackson up to now 13 seconds.
Currently,
the gap
yeah,
between first and second with the GT3 cars.
absolutely. And here we go. I think we just have a change for position, I believe. It was on the overall side of things. Richard Curry got...
I believe... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Curry got by both Jackson and Ewins in the overall category of things. But we continue to watch Jackson and Ewins, and there is a back marker between Jackson and Ewins. I'm trying to confirm who that is. I want to say, is that Ostriker? It is not. It may be... I can't tell who it is really at the moment. It's an Audi.
Position?
Yeah, it's Donlin in the 524. So he is currently separating the two at the moment. At the same time, there is a prototype going by, which is Callahan and the 005.
The gap for the overall lead, by the way, we haven't talked about that in a minute, is continuing to grow. Metcalf is now a minute behind. As I'm just hearing over the radio, somebody is talking about pitting, so we'll take a listen to see who it's.
And we are talking about the GT drivers. Jackson and Ewins are in the pits. The battle for second. So Wilson will go an extra lap, which could work out pretty big for him. So we'll watch Jackson and Ewens, the Audi and BMW, as they make their way down 45 miles an hour into pit road. They both have stalls right next to each other based off of their positions. Pit stalls 20 and 21.
So my fuel prediction was pretty spot on.
Look at this.
The GT3s are coming in right at the hour mark almost.
Look at this. Rob Courtney has closed back in on Jason Metcalf. The battle for second in class is on. Here goes Courtney, goes on around, and Rob Courtney makes it work for second spot. Great move by the 64 to pass Metcalf up to P2. So pretty much, yeah, go ahead, Glenn.
I was going to say right now, seeing that, I think Metcalf literally just gave it to Courtney because I think he's literally burned his stuff off early.
Probably.
Just trying to get back to the field after having to do all of that damage repairs. I think he might have worn off his tires, and that's why he's starting. Look like you can see right now, he's starting to fade.
Hearing reports that Scott Kukas has crashed, along with Richard Curry, who is currently 15th in the prototype category at the moment, but looks like they were just simple spins and move-ons. Here we go, off up pit road. Jackson currently with the advantage on Ewens.
We had just talked about that battle for second. Patrick Kopp also found his way around Metcalf.
And leader of the GT3s is on pit road, David Wilson.
Wilson has brought his Ferrari into the pits. Yes, Metcalf has lost time to Kopp, and here comes Metcalf. He is in the pits. Remember, drivers pit on lap 23, and this is lap number 35 for Metcalf. I don't know if he's trying to plan on short pitting as we are past the halfway mark in the 2 hours of the Glen. Let's watch the leader stop here in GT3 of Wilson. Second place is Feller.
Wilson's been sitting there for a minute. Interesting to see what
He's
this
got
is
a lot
gonna
of
do
time,
for-
though. The gap is just about a minute 13 seconds. The car is on the jack, changing the tires. I believe it's fuel first, then tires. Those wondering at home, Metcalf is out of the pits, by the way, with a 20-second stop. A quicker stop, so I don't know if it was fuel only or tires only. But again, we continue to watch Wilson. He, by the way, has been passed for second to Nicholas Feller, who we still have yet to see pit. Remember, he did make a stop earlier on lap 24. Don't know if it was for a damage situation, but of the GT3s, there were only 2 drivers that have yet to pit. It's Patrick Stein in the Ferrari, who is currently second in class, and James Troger in the 371 Porsche, and I think he is making his way in this time, and he is. So never mind on that, and now all we wait for is Patrick Stein, the pit, currently in the bus stop.
Has Nicholas Feller been down pit road? 'Cause
Yes,
he's
again.
currently out front by 12 seconds over Wilson.
Again, pitted on lap number 24, and I would assume it was just to repair some damage to his machine.
Okay.
So for those wondering at home, once we get all these pit stops cycled through in the GT category, we'll give you a full field rundown. David Wilson has cycled in front still of Bruce Jackson by about 14 seconds, and Jackson is a second in front of Ewens as Patrick Kopp has made his way into the pits, and we got reports that Don Dolson may have spun it around in a 360 in the corners. But again, still waiting for Feller, who is entering turn 10 right now. I would expect him to come in at this point. And no, he goes another lap. Again, remember, this is lap 24, so he took less fuel earlier, so he would pick completely different compared to the Ferraris and the Audi and BMW behind him, and now we're seeing Patrick Stein come in the number 89. So remember, Feller is on a completely different strategy compared to what we have seen a guy like David Wilson do. Oh, trouble for Josh Mertz, who was in the back of the pack in a BMW, who has taken that off in the inner loop.
could have happened here while I was seeing is Fuller just still chilling out here while I was in front. He might have actually, while these guys were just running the race up front, he might have just stayed back and was clutching it and saving some laps of fuel, just so he could have this moment right here to be, like you guys say, on a totally different offset cycle of pit stops than the other guys.
Could be, but I currently doubt it at the moment. Let's watch the Speed Demon replay and see what happened to Mertz in the BMW. Again, we said that this was entering the inner loop. Oh, he caught that. There's that first curb that really has a big bump, and he hit that curb and just sent the car for an earthquake of spins.
Yeah, them turtles are very, very dangerous things to go over here in these cars.
Absolutely. So still
Steve
waiting.
Jones
Yeah,
now
go ahead.
Up over a minute of a lead, by the way. So he's in clean air right now. Problems for our leader.
A 1 minute and 5 second gap on Rob Courtney in the number 64. Remember, last about a minute 36 on average for lap times around Watkins Glen. So he is not too far out in lapping the field. Remember, in iRacing, there are no yellows on road courses. So again,
with the prototypes here, we actually have a new person in P3 right now. We got Drew
Lalonde, yeah.
Lalonde, yeah. Good run right now for him.
Yeah, we've yet to talk about him yet today in the Dog Bear machine, having a great run in the number 8. He started from 8th position on the grid. And he's running
he's
some
losing
good
ground right now. He's actually about 3 seconds back of Rob Courtney. So losing ground in a second, but still nonetheless a very good run so far for him.
Absolutely. Definitely have to give him credit as we were seeing a couple of more drivers come in. With that being said, let's give you a full field rundown at the moment as we are an hour and 5 minutes in. We've got 55 minutes to go here at Watkins Glen for the season opener of the Major Series for 2022, the 2 hours of the Glen. First off, I want to mention as well, we forgot to mention this earlier, but this is also a race benefiting the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. So we definitely thank them for all that they do in the battle against MS. So let's take a look and see how this is going at the moment. In prototype, your top 15 on screen. Steve Jones, the leader. Rob Courtney is second. Drew Lalonde third. Marc-Andre Saint-Amant is fourth. Bruce Hilton fifth. Lee Tucker is sixth. Seventh position is Jason Metcalf. Eighth spot is David Callahan. Ninth, Daniel Nunez. And 10th, Adrian Garcia Vigil. 11th is Russ Lundberg. 12th is Don Dolson. 13th, Dan Langowski. 14th, Patrick Kopp. And 15th is Richard Curry. On the GT side of things, Nicholas Feller is the race leader. David A. Wilson is second. Bruce Jackson is third. Eric Ewins is fourth. EJ Fulner is fifth. Sixth, Sean Miller. Seventh is Kyle Fredrickson. Eighth belongs to Keith Ostriker. Ninth, Patrick Steins. 10th is Steve Giberson. 11th, Colin Tabor. 12th is Shannon Gray. 13th, Mark Redeker. 14th, Mike Donlin. 15th is Steve Piplinski. 16th position is James Troger. 17th, Gary Beal. 18th, Ty Basile. 19th and in the pits is Stacy Hunter. 20th is Scott Kukas. 21st is Joshua Mertz. 22nd, Brian Sweetman. 23rd is Ron McPherson. 24th in the pits is David Williamson. Same with Kyle Hackett in 25th position. 26th spot is Chris Bowler. And 27th is Pat Armand. And that is how the field looks on the track. Again, all of your leaders on the top of your screen. Steve Jones continues to lead. He has led pretty much this entire race ever since we saw the damage that occurred to Alfredo Morales, who is out of the race, by the way, in 41st position for those wondering at home. Morales led earlier, then he suffered some front-end damage to the car and just lost so much downforce that gave the lead to Steve Jones. And Jones has not looked back since. Meanwhile, in GT, David Wilson led the first half of the race, and then we had the green flag pit stops when he came in on lap number 33 for him, currently on lap 36. And Nicholas Feller is in the race lead by 18 seconds. Remember, he pitted on lap number 24. It's about 11 laps earlier in a short pit strategy, perhaps, to see if he can have the lead to the end. Just had a change for second spot on your screen, and that was Drew Lalonde passing Rob Courtney. And let's take a look and see how that pass was able to be made. Courtney, I think, let Lalonde go at the stripe, and that's what happened there, Isley.
Yeah, that all happened directly in front of GT3 leader Nicholas Feller as well. This is a really interesting battle. Lalonde, though, for a minute we thought he was actually falling back to Rob Courtney. He was about 3 seconds back at one point, ended up making a run, and obviously now we see him in second place.
Courtney falling back to the lawn. Gap is now increased to over a second on the driver of the number 8. Courtney's been having a good run today as well, currently in third spot. Lalonde, we talked about him earlier when we didn't talk about him yet, and it's made his way up into P2. Will not be disappointed about how he is performing today. Good battle happening on your screen. This is for 12th in class. Shannon Gray in the Mercedes going up against Mark Redeker in the McLaren.
What's really surprising me right now is Nicholas Fuller still out here on the track, has not made a pit stop yet.
Again, remember Feller trying to short pit on strategy. Again, remember he pitted on lap number 24. So we'll see how he does for the final 50 minutes. Drivers will have to pit one more time for what we know for the GT class, we believe, especially Feller. I think everyone else may be good to go depending on what happens.
Everyone else should be good to go to the end. They started coming out pit road at the 58-minute mark.
Yeah.
And I assume that's just knowing they still had a gap that they could make it from there.
Yeah,
I would say that everybody's good to go.
Yeah, the GTs should be good. As for the prototypes, because their fuel is completely different on how much fuel they use, different tanks, of course. They, I think, I would assume they would have one stop less left to go because they're about to come up on pit stops. Drivers pitted around laps 20 to 23. So we should see drivers come in at around the lap 45 to 50 mark. So I think we'll have, after they come in, probably just about one stop left to go. Would you agree, Glenn?
Oh, most definitely. I'm actually right. Oh, we got someone backed up against the wall. Looked like the leader.
That is Mertz.
Yeah.
He's been having issues all day in the BMW.
Yeah, Mertz has had a really rough night so far, and so out here battling it out. Really glad to see it, but he's just had a very tough go of things here at the Glen.
Oh, he simply just lost it. I think that is in the chute. Which, if that is in the chute, that has been a commonplace, not here tonight, but a commonplace for rookies to lose it. If we take a look, yeah, from the onboard with the BMW, that is in the chute. That is entering the boot for those wondering at home what the chute is. Here's a battle for 11th in class. Two guys that have had...
Tucker to the pits. Tucker to the pits. Green flag stops are happening.
That is actually Bruce Hilton in the 010 that is in from 6th position, so we will keep an eye on him.
Yeah, they had the same color car there. Kind of got me confused there between Tucker and him.
And trouble for Gary Beal in the McLaren, who has gone off in the runoff in turn 11. Merges back on, but loses it the other way.
Yeah,
so
Beal
he
with
gets
a
that
lot
uprighted.
of damage.
Yeah. That's big rear end downforce damage.
Yeah, the right rear is pushed in almost. Lucky to still have drive with the rear end. So it looks like that's how hard he hit.
I'd probably expect Beal to come in this time because you do not want to have that, because Watkins Glen, that is a track where you really want aerodynamics.
Yeah, you sure do. So with Beal working his way back around, I would assume we can take a look back up to the front. Nicholas Feller continuing to lead. His His lead has grown, I think, but I'm not fully sure. I'm
It's
having a hard time
down
getting it
to
pull up.
about 15.7 seconds, so I would consider that a constant lead still at the moment. So he's still currently having a good run in the GT3 category. And we are seeing Saint.
Talked about 2 seconds. Sorry, did not mean to interrupt you there.
Nah, you're good. We are seeing Saint Amant come in from 4th position in the prototype class. Go ahead.
We'll say Steve Jones, his lead's continuing to stay steady as well. He's about a minute, 10 seconds ahead. I believe still Drew Lalonde in 2nd place. Having a really tough time getting intervals to stay up, so that's part of the technical difficulties I've been dealing with all night.
Next driver he would put a lap down would be Rob Courtney in 3rd, who is coming into the toe of the boot.
Rob Courtney's had a really good night, as a matter of fact. I mean,
absolutely.
Minus the slight issues he had earlier on. I believe he had to pit before everybody else, if I'm not mistaken. But he's found his way back up to the front.
So he is currently in 3rd. The car behind him is 8 seconds back. That is Drew Lalonde. In fact, why don't we show you the deltas at home from the car behind in case you are all wondering.
Lalonde
We are
down
seeing,
pit road.
yeah, we are seeing more prototypes come into pit road. So Lalonde is in. And that would put him back to 3rd position. Nope, Courtney's made his way down pit road.
That's insane. Steve Jones almost a little over 3/4 of a lap ahead of Lalonde. See if he's going to come down pit road. It looks like he's not. He's going to stay out on the track.
Yep, he's going an additional lap.
So Steve Jones, the class of the field so far here in the prototypes.
Absolutely. Again, ever since Alfredo Morales had the miscue, Jones has had the lead. He has not had an issue at all today. I think the only issue we've seen is one off track on his end. Other than that, it's been a great day for Steve Jones and is under 45 minutes away from taking the overall win.
Oh, as you're going back here, I was a little riding back here while I saw him communicate there. Dan Legowski actually nosed it in the wall. He's actually on pit. I don't know what corner it was on, but he got contact with
We're going to take a look here.
a GT3 car as well.
We're going to take a look. Been a rough night for Legowski as well.
Oh, he knew.
He was off track. He had so much understeer. Caught, I think that was that Ewins in the BMW? Yeah, Ewins is in the pits. Ewins is in the pits, and that was Ewins that was involved. So that is a tough break for the BMW of Ewins, who was looking at a possible podium finish in GT today. And I believe he has gone for the quick repair with under 44 minutes to go, and he has. That's a heartbreak for Ewins. So that moves up.
Steve Jones coming out pit road. It looked like he got into the wall on the inside, the guardrail coming out pit road. We'll see if he takes any extra time to repair the damage.
Let's take a look. Doesn't look like he caught the wall at all on my end, so I think he is fine. So we'll just have to wait and see where everyone else ends up on track.
Yeah, he might have just locked up. He was just extremely close to the wall. So.
Yeah. You see how everyone in the field is looking amongst the best in class today. So we're continuing to watch Jones' stop closely, approaching 30 seconds in the pits. There you see Lee Tucker currently 2nd at the moment. But for those wondering, he is still on the lead lap. He was able to unlap himself thanks to Jones coming on into pit road.
So Icy, coming down knowing the strategy right now, how much long do you think Nicholas Fuller is going to be able to keep it out here wise? With getting about 40 minutes left in this race here. Is he gonna have to pit here soon, or how
His-
much more longer can he stretch it?
His last pit stop looks to be about 10 laps before David Wilson.
I believe.
Actually, no, it looks like he hasn't come down pit road at all yet. Or doesn't show him having a lap on pit road. So
I do have a stop on lap 24.
Yep.
okay, so stop on lap 24. That was still either way 10 laps before anybody else. I'd say he'll probably be able to go. He'll probably get close to the end. He won't make it all the way to the end unless he's saving fuel considerably.
Gap, by the way, has gone down just a little. About 13 seconds is David Wilson behind the leader. As Jones, by the way, has exited pit road. He is in the booth. The gap is, wow, this is down to 23 seconds on Lee Tucker. That's big on what pit stops can do to you. So I think you're right. That wall scrape may have cost Steve Jones if he did scrape the wall. Comparing the stops, Tucker had a 39.02. As for Jones, he had a 57.75. So that's big. Now,
Yeah, extremely rough pit stop for Jones, but thankfully he had such a huge gap. I mean, that's why he's still 20 seconds ahead.
yeah. Now when you think of it once again, what does this do if you're possibly maybe Jason Metcalf, who we've been talking about a lot tonight?
I don't see what it would hurt to try to come down right around the hour 30-minute mark. I mean, you can get around a half hour in. That's what it seemed like everybody did at the beginning. I don't know if anybody else will have that same kind of strategy, but I think that would be the best chance he has to make a move here.
We'll have to potentially see, as I believe a GT car is coming in the pits. That is 11th and 12th.
Mark Riker just brought about his Ferrari in.
Yep, the McLaren is in the pits. He's been having a couple of nice battles today. Ostraker is exiting pit road in the Lamborghini, and
just heard somebody saying they're pitting over the radio. We'll
here we
keep
go.
an eye out and see who it's going to be.
11th place battle on the line, and Dahlin gets out in front of Ostraker in the
Looks
Audi.
like
It was a GT car that we know that came in, as you can see on the graphic below.
it was Scott Kukas, I believe, along with the 129 of Russ Lundberg as well.
Yep, Lundberg
Prototype.
also in, making its way down pit road, currently 12th in this race. Been a good run for him. So we have under 40 minutes left to go. Let's go back
David
and watch.
Wilson slowly but surely catching up. He's kept it right around 15 now, so I guess not catching up the way we thought he would be able to. Feller's doing a really good job of lining the gap.
Continue to watch that battle in class between Dahlin and Ostraker. Gotta give credit to Dahlin, by the way. Up 11 spots from where he started in class, from 22nd all the way up to 11th today. Actually in the boot. Right on board from the rear end. This is from Dahlin's rear view mirror.
We're getting closer. I'm riding on board with Lee Tucker. There is going to be soon showing a battle here. Metcalf has in the middle of catching him right now. They're getting close to the bus stop here. It's only a 2-second gap, and McCaff is closing fast.
Absolutely. 1.4 seconds is the gap. Let's compare the lap times. You can see.
Been about a half a second.
Yeah,
faster lap
absolutely.
three or so
1.6 seconds faster is Metcalf. And closing in on Tucker. There he is in the foreground of your screen.
Car
And,
around in the
that was
background
Metz.
there was.
I think that was
Mertz again.
It's Joshua
Yeah.
Mertz
Yes,
once
that
again.
is in the same spot he last spun out in the chute. And that's another blind corner as well. So he's got to be looking at his black box
Yeah,
very carefully.
Ooh, that was close.
Yeah, there you see.
There's Shannon Gray who just went by. Now he's stuck in the middle of the track. He has to get back here. Multiple cars coming by here.
Yep, he
out of
gets
the
it
way,
back
and
with no issues, though. Some of these drivers that we've been seeing that have had these issues all night tonight.
Metcalf is getting there to Tucker. By the way, this is
Yeah.
getting extreme.
Here we go. Second in class. Battle is on. Up to 0.6 of a second now. What can he do?
While these guys battle, Jones is literally stretched about 2 seconds on them guys.
That's what happens when you got drivers battling against each other for position. They're closing in on the Audi. I believe that is Jackson in the 164, which it is. So we'll have to see if that plays a factor into this. Trouble for Pat Armand in the Porsche, and that is off of turn 11. As he comes across the line, he's also had a rough night tonight. As Jackson gets out of harm's way on board with Metcalf. He is right there. He is right there at a beautiful corner in the toe compared to Tucker.
Takes a look maybe on the inside. Nope, decides not to.
Oh, he's right there. Almost. Oh, he locked
what
him
a
up.
brake check. Man. that brake check
Metcalf.
was very-
That's going to cost him a little bit of time.
I don't think he was expecting to brake that early.
Yeah, probably. You can see how much that car is getting smaller and smaller in his visibility.
Metcalf gonna have to regroup, and it looks like he has. He's starting to catch back up.
Half a second is the gap in this battle for position. And he is there. Oh, caught the curbing in turn one. That's big curbing, by the way, for those wondering at home. We'll see if he can get a run, get the slipstream down the back straightaway. When they come to the boot, that'll be tough. And we got big trouble. Daniel Nunez, who wrecked earlier, by the way, is out of it. And I believe the same has come for Pat Kopp. If I can find him here on my end, who's currently 9th in class. We'll take a look and see what happened.
Oh, that was contact. I believe it was.
We'll
the
take a look.
31.
We'll have to take a look here in just a moment. We'll show.
Metcalf has got around Tucker as well to make
Yeah.
Yeah, they go.
We'll show you at home. First, here is the pass as they came into the chute. And Tucker let Metcalf go by without any issues. Now we go to what happened between Nunez and Kopp.
It was actually Vigil. Nunez and Vigil. Adrian Vigil.
Oh boy, that may have been a little bit of payback. Remember those two got together. Oh, and Nunez goes up on his lid. That may have been some payback because remember what happened when Nunez got back on the gas, trying to get back on track after Metcalf turned into him. He
True.
he came right into Vigil. Let's take a look for those of you wondering at home. Was there something intentional? Gives him the line. Oh, that was intentional. That was, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call a dump. Nunez.
Like David Williamson right on the entrance of the boot, about the same exact spot. Oh, and he drives it right down the side. Hopefully stays out of here.
Now this was completely different as we watch Kopp's on board. As he just simply got sideways.
Ooh.
This is getting really
Yeah,
close.
yeah. David Williams is in a real that real blind spot there. He's doing a lot of things. Oh man, he's
That's in
trying
the
to get out
chute.
of the
He
way.
keeps trying to back out, but he keeps backing out at the wrong times. He's gonna finally get it done here. A lot of damage on that Mercedes.
And he finally gets the car in gear and going.
There was a lot of close calls. McCaff was right there, so like he almost got in contact with it. Even
Metcalf was really
Oh, he
close.
just caught-
Along with our leader David Wilson. I mean, both of them are presumed leader in the GT3 class, I should say.
We just watched the replay, and we assume that once the right wheels caught the grass, he was gone. You gotta be when you hit grass, it's like you're picking up so much speed. William,
Well, once again, it looks like Gary Beal was off track and in the wall again. He's got a lot more damage than he had just earlier on the rear end of that vehicle.
currently 22nd in class is Gary Beal in the Mercedes. And he has also had a rough day today. Here's a good battle happening. Let's go to 16th. Hunter and Piplinski going at it in Lamborghini and Ferrari respectively. Oh, something happened with Piplinski. I think he was letting that LMP2 go by and lost about a second. Remember, the rule is that GT3s, it's recommended that GT3s stay in line. You know, that may actually be an official rule. Yes, that is a rule. Slower class cars, aka GT3 cars, should use the preferred racing line. And something to also add to, blocking is not allowed and is defined as making a reactionary move to the car behind or by making more than one defensive move at a time. So we're approaching 30 minutes left to go in the 2 hours of the Glen. Steve Jones continues to lead. Nicholas Feller has to be close somehow to making its way down to pit road. As remember, he pitted on lap number 24. And if you add maybe 33 laps to that, that would be lap 77. So I would assume, I'm assuming that Feller would be good to go by the end. Is that what you guys are thinking right now with Feller? That could be the case. Remember, he pitted on lap 24. We don't know what time that was. He's currently on 40.
Think he's gonna make it. Lap 24 would have been about 10 to 15 minutes ahead of when all the rest of the leaders pit. I know that they can make it around an hour to an hour 5 minutes, depending upon how they're turning laps. I don't think it can go that far. That would be almost an hour 15, hour 20 minutes.
It will definitely be very close. So, under a half hour left to go in the 2 hours of the Glen. Your final full field rundown of the evening. Steve Jones is the race leader. He has pretty much led most of this race. In second spot, Jason Metcalf, currently 24 seconds back on Steve Jones from last in the field all the way up to second overall. Drew Lalonde currently in the third position. Rob Courtney has fallen back to fourth. Lee Tucker is in fifth spot. Marc-Andre St. Amant is in sixth. Seventh position is Bruce Hilton. Eighth spot is Adrian Garcia Vigil. And ninth is Don Dolson. And 10th is Patrick Kopp. 11th is Russ Lundberg. 12th position, is Richard Curry. And those are the top 12 in the prototype category. Nicholas Feller again continues to lead the GT class. David Wilson is second. EJ Fulner is third. 14th is Bruce Jackson. Fourth is Bruce Jackson. Fifth, Eric Ewins. Sixth, Sean Miller. Seventh, Kyle Fredrickson. Eighth, Patrick Stein. And in ninth is Colin Tabor. 10th is Keith Ostriker. 11th, Steve Giberson. 12th is Mark Redeker. 13th, James Troger. 14th, Shannon Gray. 15th is Stacy Hunter. 16th, Steve Piplinski. 17th is Mike Donlin. 18th is Scott Kukas. 19th, Ty Basile. And Lee Tucker's crashed it. Lee Tucker has crashed it. That is it. He was the sixth place driver. I'm trying to see where that is.
It looks like out of the carousel.
That is about to leave the booth. That is in the heel. And there is front end damage to the driver of the 032. A driver who was running as high as second in this race is in big trouble.
Adrian Garcia Vigil is also on pit road. I don't know if he was.
Yes, he has. He just brought it in. And Tucker will keep it out. He may have already used his quick repair. I'm not too sure. Here is what happened. And he's all by himself in the heel of the boot. Too much right foot. Oh, a head-on shot. Nearly got glitched out. Let's take a look at his onboard here. And right on his Delara. Nope, he didn't even put a lot of gas in it at all. It may have been something... I don't know. That baffles me here, guys. What do you think happened with the rear end? Even when he didn't even put...
but somebody just went around directly in front of
And that's Bruce Jackson.
Jason Metcalf.
That is Jackson. And that is just before the toe of the boot. Oh, man, he almost got Tucker.
Yeah.
And another car that was running as high as second. Someone that could have been battling David Wilson perhaps
got
today.
A lot of damage on the left rear of that car.
That wing's bit.
Yeah, that's his heavy damage to the Audi. And he is all the way back to 5th in class and may lose it soon. Here's what happened to Brucey. Was there contact from Bruce Hilton? Nope, he catches the grass. And around he goes. But there's no damage at all. Oh, he backed it in. Backed it in, and that's what led to the damage. He was trying to let the leaders go, let the other traffic go. But that cost him dividends. That is a tough break. The 013 of Patrick Kopp. We'll show you what it looks like from a driver's perspective on how bad that rear end is. Look at that. That left side is just bent big time. So a tough break for Bruce Jackson, one of 2 Audis in the field for the GT class. And could have had a chance to pull off a stunner.
Going to have to keep an eye over the next 15 to 25 minutes. I mean, really throughout the rest of the race, but I'd say the next 15 minutes we're seeing Nicholas Feller, maybe even sooner than that.
Feller's still leading. And
he extended, didn't he extend his lead, right?
Yeah, yeah, give credit to Feller, not Fuller. Feller.
Yeah, Feller.
That is up to 17 and a half seconds on David Wilson. Again, Wilson has led the most laps in the GT category today. So, again, I'm thinking it's going to be close for Feller, but if not, Wilson's got this one in the bag in the Ferrari.
Yeah, Wilson might have lost a lot of time. You can see behind him there was a lot of traffic he had to, and while Feller's running a lot of clean laps at the moment. Just poor timing for Wilson, but I think we'll start seeing that gap start to shrink a little.
For 9th in class, Patrick Kopp and Adrian Garcia Vigil go at it. And he may have the run right here on board with Vigil. Can't get the move done just yet.
Steve Jones is making his way up to lapping all but one other car.
And Kopp just took out a GT car that was Ostriker, who just said, get out of my way, and I know Keith is going to be furious at that move. And Vigil, because of that, gets 9th position. Here's another angle of Ostriker, who was just simply minding his own business. No flashing lights behind him. Oh, Kopp just came down. That is the bad move for Ostriker. As I don't know if he heard his spotter in time, and we're hearing Saint Amant has crashed it. At the don't reverse it there.
Oh, so close.
Because
to being right in front of
Metcalf was right there.
That was extremely close. Bruce Hilton coming up to him, about to be a battle for position potentially here for 4th place in the prototypes.
Who's that?
On pit road with a car directly in front of him. I believe that car in front of him is Gary Beal, and it in fact is. So Gary Beal continues to have a rough night.
Holy moly, things are getting crazy. Let's We'll continue
So
to
Metcalf
watch.
down pit road for the final pit stop of the night in the prototypes.
Yep, this is his final stop. See if he can find anything to close in on Steve Jones. As we continue to watch the St. Amant Hilton battle for 5th position on track. Amant on the St. Amant with the outbreak on Hilton.
Continuing to keep an eye on Nicholas Feller. He stays on track. According to everything, he's coming up on lap number 30 of this run. Everybody else, the max run we've seen is 33 so far. So we will see how soon it takes for him to come down pit road, or if he has enough.
I don't think St. Amant really lost any positions when he spun out, but it did really close the gap for Bruce Hilton for sure. And again,
Bruce
this
Hilton right on his tail at the moment.
absolutely best battle for 5th spot. Remember, Hilton, I believe. Nope, it wasn't Hilton. I was thinking of Tucker, but Hilton still closing in the gap. They may close it. Yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, going back to that, Icy, you said when the other patch, so that'd be David Wilson and E.G.
Fulner. Yes.
What time did they take their pit stop?
They pitted. Wilson was on 33 and Fulner was on 31. They are currently on lap 55.
So it's going to be very close between the two of them. Literally, this whole other class is going to have to pit. But just determining on when David Wilson wants to pit, when Filner commits in.
Yeah, they may get about another 13 laps, and if they're currently about 20 laps into the run they're on right now, it'll be close. It'll be extremely close. I think they should be able to make it. I think that's part of the reason why Wilson hasn't caught Feller. I think he might have saved some fuel. But Feller, I really don't think he's going to make it. It's going to be interesting to see. He's got a longer ways to go, especially from if he pitted on lap 24. Going to complete lap number 31 right now. He's got to be running short at some point. I would see him.
And
like
Jackson,
10 minutes.
Jackson has crashed it, and he is done. That was in turn 10 where he crashed. There's a couple of other things we want to take a look at here. First off, St. Amant, when he spun it on the exit. Caught the grass when he was leaving the boot. Just that tiny piece of grass there. And then let's ride on board with Metcalf as he was entering the pits. Oh, that was a car that spun out, and I think you're right, guys. It was Gary Beal. That may have been the closest call for Metcalf of the evening.
It was extremely close. Steve Jones, by the way, I just want to point out, has now lapped the entire field, not named Drew Lalonde.
Yes, exactly. That's a minute 23-second gap.
Amazing performance from Steve Jones. Now, he does have another pit stop to make. That's going to change here. But just amazing drive for him. It's been practically flawless.
Yes, absolutely. No mistakes at all. Only one off track, though, but other than that, nothing else. It's been a picture-perfect evening for Jones with 19 and a half minutes to go at the Glen. Don't forget, a couple weeks from now is the Daytona 500 in the Major Series. And stay tuned for all of the details there. Head to majorseries.com for more details on that. So a good battle for 8th is happening between Vigil and Dolson. And Dolson cuts through the final part. We'll have to slow down, I would assume, within the next 30 seconds, or else he would get a penalty. As Vigil opens up a gap, and look who he's closing in on. That is Nunez. History developing once again between the two. May have to watch this a little bit closely. I believe that is Nunez. And that is. Watch this closely. A Mercedes lets them go by, though. But this may not end well once again. So 17 minutes left to go. It's been a rough night for both of for these two drivers who did have capabilities of a top 5 winning machine. That did not really work for either of them. Vigil currently 8th in class. You know, while he is 8th in class, I don't think he really wants to ruin his day unless Nunez says, yeah, you know what, I'm just going to ruin it for you. They both have used quick repairs. And again, it's been a rough night for the two.
Feller coming up to complete lap number 33 here at the conclusion of this lap.
So Nunez lets Vigil go by there, and let's go back to GT3 and talk about Feller. Yep. This is his 33rd lap on the stint, where we saw a lot of drivers come in. As I believe that...
off track.
Yep.
That was Scott Kukas.
Kukas letting the class leader go by. 14 minutes to go, and here comes Feller. Feller is in,
Yep.
so he'll give up his lead to David Wilson. Now the question is, as
these guys make it to the end.
exactly. Now think about this though. We've got 16 minutes left in this race. The drivers are averaging just under 2 minutes a lap, so that would be just about 8 laps. That would put them to lap 65, and a lot of these drivers pitted around lap 30 to 33. So this is a watch the GTs closely. This is going to be a big fuel strategy. If it is Nicholas, if it is, and we know Nicholas Feller is good to go, and he just took fuel only. He did not do tires. 17.8 seconds for Feller, and he's gone.
Unbelievable. We'll see how that works out for him. I mean, that's crazy to think about. I mean, he's definitely saving himself a finish. I'm not sure where Eric Ewens is.
That only put him back to 2nd spot. EJ Fulner, the driver 3rd in the GT category, he's decreasing. Yeah, that's about like 30 seconds, 20 seconds, about 30 seconds back. Trouble for Don Dolson, I think we may have heard. Nope, he's still going. So that gives the lead with 15 minutes to go back to David Wilson.
Steve Jones on pit road. Your prototype leader has made his way to pit road.
Final stop of the race. But now doesn't this bring any of the other prototype drivers in, like Lalonde or Courtney?
It's going to be a while before
this could be.
So right now, Metcalf should be fine. He pitted just not too long ago.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be the only one that's going to have a stout enough unless...
Lalonde has almost half a lap
Oh,
to go
Jones
before
did
he-
feel, oh man, a quickie for Jones. 5.6 seconds. That's very interesting. Is that going to be enough to take him to the finish, though?
I don't know.
And he keeps the race lead in front of Drew Lalonde. We'll check the gap.
The gap is huge. I mean, it's well
But the
over.
gap, yeah. Talk about the gap between Jones and Metcalf now is 1:48. And we remember what Metcalf did. 4 tires. Oh, big wreck. We got a big wreck reports of Williamson, Sweetman, and Courtney involved. Let's take a look and see what happened. Again, Williamson has had a rough night. And this is a big pack. Does this take out a prototype in the equation? Oh, Metcalf got involved in that. Oh, man, that's a shot for Williamson. He is done for the evening. Let's ride on board with Williamson here. This is from the rear end, as he's just trying to let drivers go by. There's the contact with Metcalf. That doesn't do any good for David, and then it leads to that big wreck there. Let's watch the rest of that scrimmage with Sweetman and Courtney that were also involved. Thinks Metcalf was just saying it's time to send it. And then drivers cut off, and there's Courtney and Sweetman. Courtney was running around 11th. As for Sweetman, he's been in the back the entire day, so a couple of bat markers. Their night is done. So that's definitely unfortunate to see as we go back over to our live feed. Approaching 12 minutes to go for Steve Jones, and it's a 50-second lead for Lalonde, who is yet to pit. But when you look at Jones and Metcalf, it is a minute 15. So right now, this is Steve Jones' race to lose. Andre St. Amant is in and does fuel only. But the bigger question we are looking at here, though, with under 12 to go, is does David Wilson have enough to go to the end? It's going to come down to Wilson versus Feller here. If Wilson has enough, he wins. If he loses it,
Feller looks like he's about 28 seconds back of Wilson. It's definitely going to take Wilson running out of fuel. It's just a matter of will they run enough laps. I think Wilson says he pitted at the end of lap 33 on the lap number 34. So it's going to be close. It just depends on how many laps they end up running here at the end. They're about 6.5 laps away from meeting that number.
That's going to be really close.
It's
11 minutes to go.
close.
Let's ride on board with Wilson here.
They're running about 2 minutes a lap. It's going to be 5 laps. Wilson, they may have to take a 6th lap if they cross the start-finish line before the time runs out.
I'm trying to listen closely here on Wilson's onboard. And what I'm listening to here is if you listen here on the onboard, he's not putting too much gas on the entry. He's being very patient, very conservative. Listen to that engine. I think that's what he's doing there. And at the same time, he may be pushing the clutch in. I'm not too sure, which could help save fuel. That's always a big trick in NASCAR, pushing the clutch in, trying to save fuel. But it's going to be close for Wilson if he can make it. If not, Feller's got the win. So under 10 minutes to go. Let's keep focused on some other battles here. We've been talking about how Josh Mertz has had a rough night. He's in a battle for 18th in class with Scott Kukis. It's a battle between a Merc and a BMW at the moment. There is also another good battle happening for 15th in the same GT class between Michael Donlin and Stacy Hunter. We'll
the battle with Mertz and Kuka is directly in front of our leaders, so hopefully there's no problems there.
I'll take a look here, and I think, Mertz lets them go by. And there is your class leader, Wilson.
Very smart move by Mertz, though, to not get too caught up in the battle and understand that the race leader is directly behind.
Definitely respectful. In the inner loop, Peplinski and Hunter going at it for 16th in class with under 9 minutes to go. And you see the flashing lights coming out of the 83 of Curry. Let him know he's coming. We're hearing
Kuka's
that.
not really making life easy for the race leader right now back here in the field, just trying.
That is
to
interesting.
run laps.
And that is closing the gap for Feller.
He gets out of the way on the front stretch.
So Wilson's gap is just about 29 seconds at the moment as we're approaching the final 8 minutes. Let's go back to the Kukas-Mertz battle on track, and Kukas trying to go around the outside on Mertz. And can he make the pass work for 18th on track? Yes, he can.
Mertz gets around Kukas, and Alon passes both of them, so no problem for any of the leaders getting around that little bit of a battle there.
Yep, definitely. Got to give credit to Lalonde as well in the prototype. Second today, has had a great run. And under 8 minutes away from getting a podium finish. However, though, he is yet to pit, so I think he's just trying to play chicken over Metcalf and see if he can hold on to a second place finish. Go back to the Mertz-Kukas battle, see if Kukas tries to fight his way back. It's going to be tough. Other guys we got to give credit to as we're approaching the final 7 minutes. This guy has been very quiet today. We haven't focused on him a lot. But E.J. Fulner in the 113, currently third in class with the Ferrari. It's been a great run for the Ferraris today. First, third, 7th, 10th, and 20th, Glenn.
Oh, most definitely here. Doing amazing here, Roz, for the portion of where he's at right now, getting close to the end of this race here. That's where you need to be that closer to try to finish up a good spot here for yourself.
We've talked a lot.
As we near 5 minutes to go, Wilson is coming to his now, I believe.
The target, the window.
His 28th lap. Right now, he's on lap number 62.
He could make it. At your calculations, is it going to be maybe a lap short, or do you think he hits it right in time?
I think it's going to be right on the money. I think he's actually going to have a couple laps to spare. They remember they pitted at lap 33 2 minutes before the hour mark, and I think they still had room to go, and so I feel like that's why they felt safe to pit at lap number 58 or at minute number 58. I think they'll be able to get 35 to 38 laps out of it. I think they'll be good to go.
Fulner comes in for his final stop. Did not have enough to go the distance. Now what happens with a gap to Eric Ewens in the BMW? Ewens is in turn number 11 and should make the pass work for third spot. And he does. Ewens is up to third in class. Now Wilson sees his fellow Ferrari come in. Is Wilson starting to get a little bit nervous, or do you not think so?
Again, I really don't think so. I know, if I'm not mistaken, Fulner came in a little bit before Ewens and Wilson did, along with Jackson as well at the time. I still think he's good. I don't think there's really a whole lot of need to worry. I think he's saving maybe a little bit out of precaution, and because he really doesn't have a lot of or he has a good gap. He has almost a 30-second lead that's actually grown over the last little bit. So
can tell you this, by the way.
Worried.
Oh, there's one car that has stopped, and that is Piplinski, who may have run out of fuel. I'm not too sure. We can tell you, by the way, Drew Lalonde has made his way into pit road for his final stop. Let's show you what happened with Piplinski. As he was making his way out of pit road. He still has front end damage, and he had already used a quick repair. Oh, that is bad. That's one of the Porsches. I think that was Fredrickson, and it was. That was nasty. Let's ride with Fredrickson and show you this. The S's, Glenn. That is probably the most dangerous place you want to be wrecking.
That's definitely looks like he was just trying to get out of everybody's way there. Just wrong place, wrong time.
Sixth position battle here in prototype in the final 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, Courtney's coming on strong here at the end. We'll see if he's able to get up to Garcia.
Let's compare the last 5 laps. Vigil has the advantage by about 3 seconds. So Vigil was able to make a pass about a lap ago for P6. Now can he increase that gap? 3 minutes to go, I'd say just about 2 laps left, and Fredrickson and Mertz are both in the pits. Meanwhile, it is 2 laps to go for Steve Jones. Again, David Wilson still in the S's.
On lap number 30, or actually he's just completed lap number 30, so he is on to, in the middle of lap 31, it's going to be extremely close as to whether they get there or not. The white flag will come out probably at the end of the next lap.
Let's listen on board here as he's in the carousel. Not on the gas at all. until right there. To me, it's a little bit surprising he wasn't on the gas at all during the entirety of the carousel. Can the Ferrari go the distance? 2 minutes to go. And there goes Jones passing by. This time by, we'll see the white flag come out with 1 lap to go. It'll be just over the 2-hour mark when Jones comes to see the checkered flag. It's been a perfect drive again, I said, for Steve Jones ever since he took the lead. And there's a lot of traffic ahead of Jones. So I think they'll just get out of the way for Jones, and they'll be crystal clean to the finish.
Yeah, and the crazy part, our 2 leaders are going to cross the start-finish line almost within 10, 15 seconds of each other. As
final lap.
Wilson directly behind.
White flag is out. We are on the last lap. Jones working on lap number 73 of this race. Ever since he passed Alfredo Morales, who had front end damage, it has been nothing but pure dominance out of the 53. We thought Metcalf was going to close in. However, though, Metcalf got in a bunch of traffic and had a longer pit stop than Jones, who did fuel only to get him to the end. Wilson through the inner loop. He's still good at the moment. 27 seconds is the delta on Feller. Jones into the bus stop for the final time. Excuse me, into the boot.
I'm riding on board with Wilson right now. It looks like he's running a low gear right now, just saving as much as he can.
And
I think he's just trying not to wreck it. He's got such a big advantage. I don't think he's gonna have too many getting to the.
Likely is.
Down the inner boot straightaway here for his last time and down into the heel.
Likely is. Out of the boot for the final time for Steve Jones. What a perfect way for Jonesy to kick off 2022. The first race of the Major Series. And Jones will start things off right. Out of turn 11, Steve Jones takes the checkered flag and wins the 2 hours of the Glen. Meanwhile,
David Wilson now coming through the final 2 corners for his chance at a win in the GT3 class. Out of the final corner,
he's got it.
Clear in the back. He's going to take it. David Wilson's going to win in the GT3 series.
And I think he was almost sputtering at the checkered flag, but Wilson takes the W for Ferrari in the GT class. And Nicholas Feller, still waiting for him to cross the checkered flag, but will fall oh so close to getting the win.
That was an absolutely amazing race all throughout, each of the 2 hours. And the 2 winners showed almost pure dominance from the very beginning.
Waiting for Metcalf to come across the start-finish line. He is leaving the boot right now. Feller officially comes home to finish in second in class for GT3. As here's Metcalf off the final corner, who will take a second place finish. Lalonde's in the middle of the boot right now. You look at Ewins off of turn 11, even with the damage he suffered earlier. He gets through and takes third position in the GT category.
And then here we go, Drew Lalonde through the final corner. He's going to come home and take home the final podium spot in the prototype category.
So that will do it. Steve Jones is the overall winner tonight here in the 2 hours of the Glen. It's been a fun one, and stand by as we will talk with your race winners in just a few moments. But first off, gentlemen, start off with Tyler here. I'd like to get your thoughts on the race we had today.
Absolutely fantastic racing. A lot of very, very talented individuals. Steve Jones, from the beginning, an unfortunate incident with the leader previously in this race, and Jones ended up taking off and showed just true dominance, I believe, lapping up into the top 3 of the entire field. While we sit there and watch David Wilson for a minute, we didn't really know if he was going to make it to the end. He does, and makes an extra lap around down pit road here. Wilson, just an amazing show of patience. Also, credit to Jason Metcalf. I mean, he ran from the back all the way up to the top 2 and truly ran a extremely clean race for the most part.
Absolutely. How about you, Glenn?
Honestly, coming in, was first time watching team racing along with these GT and prototypes. It was a fun race to watch. A lot of versatile drivers. Like you said early, some rookie drivers in here trying to make a name for themselves with these guys, along with the veterans at the same time. I enjoyed it. I hope to come back with these guys. This was fun watching them.
Absolutely. So stand by as we get the interviews while we're at it. For those that want to catch more Speed Demon TV coverage while we're at it, make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube. And also, if you are watching on Facebook, make sure you give us a like there. We definitely appreciate all of you tuning on in tonight. Again, stand by as we try to get your second Sportsman winners out here. But while we're at it, let's take a look at your unofficial results from tonight's feature. We start things off here in the prototype category. And we should have them come up now. There we go. So Steve Jones winning it by 1 minute and 11 seconds. On Jason Metcalf, Drew Lalonde, Marc-Andre St. Amand, Bruce Hilton. Man, Jones only left 3 drivers on the lead lap, Jason Metcalf and Drew Lalonde, so give them credit to all of those drivers today. I think the ones that had the heartbreak of the race as we go through and look at the rest of the prototype results, if we have them, I don't think we do. But really, Alfredo Morales really had the heartbreak, especially as he was the only leader not named Steve Jones tonight.
Yeah, Alfredo Morales, a lot of tough times early in the race, so unfortunate to see it, but I have a feeling we're going to see him back later in this race.
Absolutely, same there. And now we go to the GT3 results and make your way on up. A stacked field full of GT3 drivers there. So David Wilson only leaves 3 other drivers on the lead lap. Nicholas Feller, Eric Ewins, EJ Fulner, all finishing inside the top 4. Glenn, man, the GT category never disappoints.
Oh no, it was ups and downs to the whole race from start to finish. Again, we thought Bruce Jackson would be able to make a run here wise on David Wilson Jr. And then we had Nicholas Filler literally come in here wise and thought he was going to win it on strategy with gas.
Yeah.
And then it came down to be, again, David Wilson Jr. could have almost ran out of gas as well. He was on a fuel strategy as well. So we could have literally had a totally different winner coming down to the last couple minutes of this race.
Absolutely. So, I don't think we will be getting our other drivers on in from the second split. So, I guess that will do it for us here tonight. I'd like to thank all of you all for tuning on in. Again, a couple weeks from now, we've got the Daytona 500 for the Major Series, so we hope you do not miss out on that. And again, Speed Demon TV. Next event, I believe, is coming up this weekend, if I recall correctly, this Monday with the Elevated Outdoors Truck Series for the National Sim Racing League. So that will do it for our coverage tonight. On behalf of everyone at Major Series and on behalf of us at Speed Demon TV, our executive producer is Mark Sikosi. On behalf of Tyler Isley and Glen Grimm, Marty Sakala signing things off tonight. Congratulations to Steve Jones, your prototype winner, and David Wilson Jr., your GT winner. We appreciate you all joining us.